Hello, grade 12 Mindsetters. Welcome to today's Life Sciences show. Today we have a special revision lesson on the human nervous system. We have selected highlights from lessons shown earlier in the term to help you revise. Please post your comments and questions on our Facebook page on facebook.com/learnextra or on Twitter @learnextra so we can help you with your revision. You can also download the notes for today's show from learn.mindset.co.za or click on the link on our Facebook page. Now it's time to get on with today's lesson.
Firstly, name the part of the nervous system. So you must name the part of the nervous system that connects the organs to the CNS. So just think about it carefully. We spoke about the CNS being the brain and the nerves. Right. What nerves or what nervous system do we call it when it comes from our organs? So the heart, the liver, the lungs, the everything else, the muscles, everything. What do we call that system? Can you remember, Lily? It's that system that's on the outside of the central nervous system.
Yeah.
Can you remember the name of it? Peripheral.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the peripheral nervous system. Very important. It's a peripheral nervous system. It's on the outside of the central nervous system. Can you see how it works? It's not that difficult. You've got to put 1 and 1 together to make 5. Hey. Just making sure she's awake. 1 and 1 together to make?
2.
Very good, Looney. Now, let's look at the next one. Name the two parts of the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic case. So now this is how you do it. You go to the You go to the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is divided into 2 sections. You get the autonomic and you get the, what's the S one? What's the S one? Send it. I want to hear. Send the S one. Quickly. Before I finish this question, I want to know what it is. Okay. So, there's 2. When we get to the autonomic, you get the 2 systems. You get the one where it's what you do when you're on the beach. Am I right, Looney? You lie like this and you chill. And then you get the other one where you get into class, right? And as you walk into the class, the teacher goes, "Hey!" What happens? Fright. Looney nearly jumped out of it, just for the record. Right, so the fight or flight. So let's have a look at it. The 2 are very simple. The one is parasympathetic and the other one is sympathetic. Para meaning relaxed, sympathetic meaning getting worked up. The fight or flight. Very nice. Looney, are you remembering this?
Of course I am.
List, here we go. This is going to be difficult, right? And you guys need to know this. Okay, it's very, very important. List the functions of the sympathetic nervous system. Now, sympathetic means hyped up, get ready, get sewing. So we're looking at, before I even turn it, I'm going to give you one quickly. What happens when you get a fright? What's the first thing that you go? What's the first thing that you say? Looney, if you came to me and you said, "I got such a fright," feel what? When you get a fright, what do you tell you about your heart?
It
twinkles in your eye.
No, man, goes faster.
It goes faster. So the speed of your heart. Okay, so that was just a quick way of looking at it. That's what you need to do. Okay, your eyes are going to open, right? Your pupils are going to get bigger so that you can see more light. You can see what's going on, right? Those are the type of things that we're looking for. So let's have a look. Okay, firstly, inhibits the flow of saliva. Okay, so it doesn't give you any saliva in your mouth, right? Because it takes energy to release things. Okay, it wants to keep all the energy for the way it needs it, like the muscles. Okay, next thing, accelerates heartbeat. I know you guys all got that. Okay, it increases the heartbeat to go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, which is important. Okay, because the faster you go, the more oxygen you send to your muscles or whatever, and everything can work. Next thing, dilates bronchi. Now, dilates bronchi. Now, Dilates. I want to know, what does dilate mean? What does dilate mean? I want an answer. Has anybody given me an answer yet?
For what?
Well, I asked a question. You get
Somatic.
automatic and you get a?
Somatic.
Somatic. Very nice. Next question. Let's see if you're going with me. Okay. Dilate. Does that mean get smaller or bigger? Bring it on. Let me see what you've got. Dilate. Does it mean smaller or bigger? Next one. Right. Inhibits means stops. Okay. It stops peristalsis and the secretion of alimentary canal. So what happens is it stops putting all of those mucus and all the different stuff for digestion and peristalsis and all of that stuff. It stops it. Okay? It does it for a reason. It has to do it. It needs to protect everything. So take our energy, put it somewhere else. Okay? So it stops all of this stuff. Very important. Next one. Stimulates, there we go. Stimulates the conversion of glycogen into glucose. What do? We take glucose, we send it through the Krebs cycle to make energy. Right. If we're not using glucose, what do? We save it, or we change it into glycogen. Okay, now what this body's doing, or what this body's being told to do, is change glycogen into glucose. Why do we want to do that? More energy. Can you see how it's all working together? All got to do with homeostasis. It's very important to be able to do that. And then next, stimulates the secretion of adrenaline. Do you know what adrenaline feels like? Looney, do you know what adrenaline feels like? What does it feel like?
You could jump over something if you like really. Yeah.
She does it so well. You can jump over
Like,
something if you like
Say,
really.
for example, you're scared of like mice
Yeah.
and you see a mouse.
Yeah.
You could do.
Hurdles
Yeah.
of a 10-foot wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is it's addictive. Do you know that? Yeah.
How?
It's addictive. Adrenaline's addictive. Why do you think people keep jumping out of planes? And bungee jumping and all? It's addictive, right? So adrenaline's addictive. So yes, it produces adrenaline because your body can do things that you never thought was possible.
Yes.
Okay? And then lastly, inhibits the contraction of the bladder. Okay? Inhibits the contraction, makes the bladder stop squeezing. Okay? Uses energy. Now, I asked a question. What was it?
Dilate means getting bigger.
Dilate means getting bigger. Right, your eyes dilate, they get bigger. The pupils get bigger. Dilate, right?
Expand.
If you have the bronchioles, where they, there we go, the bronchi get bigger, means you can take in more oxygen. Okay, all of this is about taking in more oxygen and keeping oxygen for the right place. Right, so as long as everybody is understanding exactly where we're coming from, it's very important. Now, I like this question. Study the diagram representing the structure of Looney's brain below. Okay, it's got to be Looney's brain because I couldn't put mine up there, right? It's small, but it's beautiful. Okay, now have a good look. You've got your A, which is pointing here. I'm just going to do this so that you can see. B, which is pointing at that part. C, which is pointing there. F, that's pointing there. E, pointing there. And D over there. Nice and easy. Okay, now, let's see. The structure of the human brain, it always gets labeled. First question. Is there above a cross-section or a longitudinal section of the brain? Now, what is the difference between cross and what is the difference between longitudinal? Okay, now, if you had a look, Looney, which one would you say is which? A cross-section or a longitudinal section? Which is which? Just like that.
Cross-section.
Why would you say cross?
Cross, man. Longitude.
But why?
I don't know. Cross-section.
You reckon cross is this way, from left to right.
I think so.
Okay, and longitudinal?
Long.
Down, long ways.
Yes.
I like that. Okay, cross is from left to right, or right to left, and longitudinal, up and down. So which one do you think this is? Did I cut it like this, or did I cut it like this?
Like this.
So which one do you think it is, Looney?
Long.
Longitudinal. I would agree with you there. For some reason. For the first time, we agree. Hey, Looney. It's a longitudinal
Yeah.
section. It was very nice. That's quite an easy one. Okay, here we go. Identify the parts labeled B. Oi, let's get some things here. B and A. I don't know why they just didn't say A and B, but it's fine. B and A. So let's see. There's A, right, and there's B. First of all, A is that big part of the brain, right? It's got gray on the outside. It's got some white on the inside, yeah? And B is my finger. That's just a clue. Right? Can you remember my finger? Where did I come up with my finger? Can you remember this? Looney and I. B is my finger. It's this part over here. Right. So, first of all, B is the... Oh, let's push that. There. B is the corpus. Let's get rid of this. There we go. B is the corpus callosum. Right? And A, of course, is that big part, which is your cerebellum. Cerebrum, not cerebellum, cerebrum. Okay, it's a big part of the brain. Okay, now, just interesting information while we're going along. Okay, cerebellum. Oh, don't do that. The cerebellum is over here, and I was told that the cerebellum looks like a tree. Hey, Looney, do you think it looks like a tree?
A tree.
Yeah, look at the lines, the way the lines go.
Okay.
Okay? And a tree, it's called the tree of life at the back here. Right? And bellum means beautiful. So the tree is beautiful. So the cerebellum means beauty. Tree in the back. I think that was beautiful.
That's cool.
I never forget it because of that. Which is quite nice. Okay? Next one. Okay, write down, here we go. Write down the letter, not how many, the letter. Right? From A to F, so one of the three. Which part controls breathing rate? Okay, your breathing rate. Now, if I have a look at it, your breathing rate always comes from a specific place, same as your heart rate and everything like that. This has got to do with movement and thinking. This one's got to do with something else. This one's got to do with precise movement. It would leave the part that happens here, right, which is called your Medulla Oblongata, okay, which is your E, right. E is very nice and very simple. Let's have a look at it. Explain how parts A and C are related in function. Okay, A and C. Let's go, there we go. A and C. A has got to do with movement, and C has got to do with fine motor skills. Okay, so that's how they're related. Even though they both got movement in it. One is, I need to move my arm. The second one tells you you need to move it in a certain way to get accuracy. Right, it's very important that you remember that. And the way we say that, okay, if we have a look at it, okay, it says there, part A, the cerebrum, right, controls voluntary action, while part C, the cerebellum, ensures that the voluntary action are coordinated. In other words, you have control of it. Very, very important. Okay. So even though you can do something, so in other words, even though I move, but if I'm trying to grab a glass and I bump it off, right, that control isn't there. That means the cerebellum is not working properly. Okay, I hope you remember that for future. Okay. And you'll understand why I'm saying that now. Next thing, if I have a look, list the functions of part D. Where's D? Where's D? Ah, there's D. What is D? Okay, D is very, very important. Okay, if we have a look at it, D is that part that links the brain. Remember, it's at Pond's place, right? It links the brain. Oh. It links the brain to the rest of the body, right? Okay, and that's where we start getting the thing called the reflex center. Okay, it's the reflex center. It's the last place. It stops there. The reflex stops there to go somewhere. A list below, right? Below, we'll still get there, right? There's a list below that characteristics of functions of parts of the central nervous system in humans. So these are things that happen in the central nervous system. So now what they want to do, they're having a look at, right? Let's see. A, perceive sensation, right? Perceive sensation. Next one, right? Regulates heartbeat. I'm not going to underline them because we're going to need them just now. Regulates heartbeat. Next one, coordinates skeletal muscle movement. Coordinates skeletal muscle movement. Next one, white matter. Ooh, let me go down a bit. This is quite cool. White matter on the outside, gray matter on the inside. White matter on the outside, gray matter on the inside. Next one, E. Gray matter on the outside, white matter on the inside. That's changed around if you've noticed. E and D, they mean different things. They're two different things. That's right. Okay. Next one, your F is connect the two cerebellum hemispheres, cerebral hemispheres, so the left side and the right side of the brain. Okay. Next one, G, responsible for breathing rate. Okay, responsible for your breathing rate. Let's go. Allows one to remain in information. It keeps the information. It allows one to remember information. And the last one is protected by a vertebral column. So there's the things that we're going to have a look at. Now, what they want you to do, if we have a look at the question, because that was just giving you information. The next question, it says, from the list above, right, choose and write down only, see how it's in capital letters? There's a reason for it. Only the letter or letters, they did that as well. Can you see the S there for a reason? It means it can be more than one. Okay, the letters which we refer to the following. Okay, cerebrum. Let's have a look at it. The cerebrum, that one. Now, the cerebrum, what of those would work with the cerebrum? Let's have a look. Oh, too much. The cerebrum, perceive sensation. Of course it does. It's a big part. Okay, it's a big part. So it'll definitely go with A, right? Very nice. Definitely go with A. Now, I'm not going to mark these down because I'm going to give you the answers just now again. So definitely go with A. Regulate heartbeat? No. Remember, it's when it comes to muscles that we're going to control, it's got to be ones that we physically control. Okay? So it can't be that. Coordination of skeletal muscles? Could be. Hey, definitely. No. There's that big word we're looking for. Coordinates. That is fine motor skills. Fine motor skills, right? White matter on the inside and gray matter on the outside. Oh, sorry, this was the other way around. White matter on the outside, gray matter on the inside. Can you remember I said to you it's that big gray matter? If you listen to, I don't know if your teachers or your parents, or have you ever heard it, use that gray matter that you've got? Have you ever heard that?
Always.
That is the gray matter, the cerebrum, right? So the cerebrum's got gray matter on the outside and white matter on the inside, okay? And then lastly, does it connect the two hemispheres? No. Is it responsible for breathing rate? No. Does it allow information? Does it allow you to remember information? Ooh, that's a nice one. Yes. And is it protected by a spinal cord? Do you have a spinal cord on the top part of your head? No. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you. Right? Yeah, I'm actually going to show you what it is so that we can get through it, so you can understand it. If I have a look at number one, okay, I'm going to write them on the side there so you can see. Number one, it's A, E, and H. Let's see, A, we said, that's right. Ooh, where are you going? Come back here. Okay, if we have a look at it, we said A, and I'm going to change pens so that you can see the difference. We said A, oh, I didn't change pens. A was one of them, right? We said E, because it's got gray matter on the outside. Very nice, can you remember? And the last one we said was H, allows you to remember stuff. Very important. Next one, they want to know your cerebellum. Fine motor skills. So now we've got the gray matter. It's still got gray matter, hasn't it? Okay, so it's definitely the coordination because that's fine motor skills, and it's definitely going to be the gray matter on the outside. So let's see, it's C and E. So E is, of course, is the gray matter. Nice and easy. It's not too difficult. Let's see how good Looney is. Looney, the spinal cord. Which ones would it be? Is the spinal cord, does it sense things?
Yes.
The spinal cord.
Spinal cord.
Yeah.
Sense.
Does it perceive sensation?
No.
Good girl. Now, perfect. Next one. Regulates heartbeat. Does your spine regulate the heartbeat?
No.
Good girl. Coordinate muscle movement.
Yes.
Does your spinal cord say you move?
No.
No. Good girl. Is it white matter on the outside and grey matter on the inside?
Mm-hmm.
Good girl. You are so right. So it's definitely D, right? And let's see. Well, if it's that one, it definitely can't be grey on the outside. I mean, that's obvious. Does it connect the cerebrum hemispheres? Is it between the two brains, the spinal cord?
No.
Good girl. Smoking perfect today.
That looks you're giving me.
Is it responsible for the breathing rate?
No.
Good girl. Does it allow one to remember information?
No.
Good. Is it protected by a vertebral column?
Yes.
Good girl. So we've got the two. And the two, of course, or the three, should I say, or the two, yes, was D, which means it had the white matter on the outside and the grey matter on the inside. It's opposite to the brain, right? And then, of course, it's got the protected by the vertebral column, right? Okay, next one. The corpus callosum. What's a corpus callosum? What's a corpus callosum?
Oh, it's in the brain, that middle part.
It connects the left and the right hemisphere. So the minute I said that, there it is, connects the two together very nicely. You see, Looney's getting there. And then the last one, medulla oblongata, if you remember, things that we do not. Can you imagine if we had to go beat, beat, beat?
Hey.
Right? We're going to do a 100-meter sprint. Beat, 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 beat. Go, beat, 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 beat. You're never going to run. You're going to think about beating, right? So, let's see where it is. Regulates heartbeat and, where is it? Responsible for breathing rate. That's it. So, it'll be B and G.
Okay, guys, I hope you're enjoying this revision session. If you need help, remember to post on the page or send an email to helpdesk@learnextra.co.za. Now it's time to take a quick break, but don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We have some great news to pass on to you. We will be bringing you winter school from the 30th of June till the 20th of July, starting at 10 a.m. every weekday. To get the full schedule, visit our website, learn.mindset.co.za, and look for the winter school link. Join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. But now it's time to get back to the lesson.
All right. Can you list the 4 stimuli that the body can respond to? Stimulus from outside. Light. Pain. Come on.
Sound.
Sound, good. That's already 3. We'll give them a break, don't you think?
Yes.
Right. There we go. Light, sound, touch, temperature, pressure, pain, and chemicals. Chemicals mainly through taste and smell. Okay? So you light, sound, touch, temperature, pressure, hot, cold, etc. All those are stimuli that the body can interpret. Explain what binocular vision means, anybody?
So I think it's when
Come
the
on, fellow.
ability of the eyes to pick up different pictures and make it one.
Yes, okay,
Different.
more or less, we'll give you that one. That is vision in which both eyes are used synchronously. Big word, dunya, because I give you the hard task. Synchronously. Right? In sync. In sync, we can say, to produce one image. You get the picture? Distinguish between the following disorders of the eye with regard to the nature, causes, and possible treatment. Okay, we're not going to give you a hard time on that one. Those are easy. We're just going to go through that very quickly. A cataract is clouding of the lens. I'm going to highlight those. Highlight clouding of the lens. cause is not yet clearly understood, but generally age related, and try and get used to this word, congenital. Now guys, you know, I know genitals come in that word, congenital. We're not talking of the genital organs here. Congenital means, and I know at your age that's all you think about sometimes. Congenital means that it is hereditary. That means you can inherit it from your parents. Some may be secondary cataracts, etc., traumatic cataracts, etc., whatever. How can we fix it? Surgery. You only need to know what is a cataract, what is the cause, and how can we treat it. That's all you need to know. Remember it. Hypermetropia, we know, we spoke about it earlier. This is long-sightedness, and we gave you the reason earlier. The eyeball is too rounded or the lens is too flat. Mainly genetic. If your parents, one of your parents has it, you're probably going to get it. And it can, long-sightedness can occur at any age, but it tends to become more noticeable above the age of 40. Let's move from that one quickly. Okay? The next question. Now, this is where we're going to explain some of the work that I spoke about earlier. You've got to be concentrating now. And they're going to answer for us, but we're going to concentrate when I'm going to explain as well. The following diagrams, 1 and 2, show a section through a portion of the human eye and illustrate how the lens changes its shape when eye focuses on an object. Now, many learners got thrown off by these diagrams here on the side. Because they're seeing that and they're thinking of the pupil and so on and so on, they're getting excited. But notice, they're telling you clearly that this part here in the middle is not the pupil, but it's that part there. Same here, E is E. And all these labels are the same. Are we all clear with that? You guys clear with that one? Okay? Now the first question says, provide labels for A to E. That we can do on the diagram. So A is this part here on the side. What is that?
Ciliary muscles.
Ciliary muscles. Good. Ciliary muscle and body. We can't see clearly, so we say that. B.
The suspensory
Good. The
ligaments.
suspensory ligaments. Great. What? A to E. Remember also mindset is A to E and A and E are two different things. When it was A and E, you would have got 2 marks. A to E, you have to get 5 marks because you have to give all the labels. So be careful about a thing like that. Okay, so that was B, C, iris, good. D,
It's the conjunctiva.
conjunctiva, or in this
Cornea.
case, you're not showing it, we'd rather
Cornea.
label it as
Cornea.
cornea. Good. And lastly, E,
The
that's easy, right? The lens. So we, I said lens there. Lens. Amida Ben, I'm thinking of your town, that's why I wrote lens there. Lenasia. Lens. Okay, good. So we've done that already. We've labeled, were you guys right?
Yes.
Let's mark your work, right? This was right, that one was right, that one, and that one. Right? So you got 5 marks. Good. So you're doing well so far, Looney?
Yes.
List the functions of B, C, and D. What is B?
Hold the lens.
Suspensory ligaments. What does it do?
It also.
Talk loud, I must hear you now.
Yes, sir.
Right.
It also for accommodation.
Accommodation, and its primary function, you said first?
Hold the lens.
Holds the lens in position. It keeps the lens in its position. And at the same time, it also plays a role in accommodation. Good. C, the iris.
It's for light, allows light to come in. And
Good. It controls the amount of light that comes into the eye. And D, the cornea, Unati.
It's for refraction.
It's for refraction and also allowing light to pass through because it's transparent, remember? Here we go. Good. Name the process that accounts for the change from diagram 1 to 2. This is diagram 1. That's how the lens was looking, and it moved to that. What is this process called?
Accommodation.
Accommodation. Excellent, excellent. Guys, you are making my life easy. Eye accommodation. Using letters and names of the parts labeled A to E, describe 3 changes that occur. Now, we're going to explain this one here. What is happening in accommodation? And obviously, in this particular case, we're dealing with near vision. And notice the question, the instruction. You must use the letters. Hey, how did that happen? You must use the letters and the names of the parts. Not just the names, but the letters and the names. And let's see what we did there. First of all, we're saying the ciliary muscles,
Contract.
part A, contracts. And I would like to say here, contracts towards the lens. This will make sense to you. Hey, I keep saying lens. What's happening with me? Let me just correct it there. Lens. Contracts towards the lens. Okay? What happens because of that? There's no pressure on the suspensory ligaments, so they become slack. Suspensory ligaments, part B, becomes slack. That then has less tension on the lens, and the lens, part E, becomes more convex. Remember here, because they just told you the parts and that, we don't have to say the in-between parts there, right? But in a longer question, you need to say that. That's why I'm adding that there. Okay? Are we all clear with this part here? You guys okay with it? Or, if we went the other way, now look at what's happening. We're talking about the same three parts. But, look at these words. That word, and that word. What can you tell me, guys?
It's distant.
Yes, but compared to the ones that we
It's
mentioned
the
before?
opposite.
It is the opposite. So do you have to learn both?
No.
No, not at all, right? Good, guys. You are with me there. Which diagram, 1 or 2, represents the state of the eye when a person is reading a book? I take the diagram up for you guys. Which one is the one that they're reading a book? Diagram 1 or diagram 2?
Two.
Obviously diagram 2. And why do you say that, by the way?
Near vision.
Why? Why? What in the diagram is telling you
The
that?
lens is more convex.
The lens is more convex. Excellent, guys. You're doing absolutely well. Okay, diagram 2 here, they did not ask you for a reason, but they could have asked you for a reason in the exam. And the reason is because in this diagram 2, the lens is more convex. And when the lens is more convex, it's for near vision. I'm going to try before the end of the show to teach you the same section on accommodation, and they've heard it before in the classroom, but I'm going to humor them, and I'm going to try and help you if I have time to teach you that section using logic. That means going backwards. We'll explain later. Okay, study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. Write down the letters of the parts A to G where the clearest image is formed. In this diagram, where is the clearest image formed?
G.
G, good. That's correct. Why G, by the way? Just tell the others they want to know why.
On the
They have
retina.
hots and cones.
But what do we call this area, by the way?
The yellow
The
spot.
yellow
The
spot.
yellow spot. And in this area, they have more cones. They have the most cones are found in this area, and therefore it's the part of acute vision, not acute vision. Acute meaning the sharpest image is formed there. Good. Next one, that is responsible for maintaining the shape of the eyeball. That will be
The sclera.
the shape of the eyeball.
Vitreous humor.
The vitreous humor, and that is
It is
F.
F, okay? Good. That is responsible for the nutrition of the eye. Which part of the eye? Which of the 3 layers, by the way? In name,
The choroid.
choroid. And that would be part number
B.
B in this diagram. Good, excellent. State the function of part F. What is part F? We said already the vitreous humor, and we've already asked that question. So it will maintain the shape of the eyeball, and it plays a role in the refraction. Explain how part E functions in dim light. Remember, we spoke about accommodation. Now we're talking about pupil mechanism. Guys, please understand that when we're talking about light and dim, we only talk about the pupil and the iris. When we talk about near and far, we only talk about the lens and associated structures. Remember that all the time. Explain how part E functions in dim light, and part E is the iris. The iris has 2 muscles. Can anybody name them for me?
radial muscles.
Radial and
Circular
muscles, right? And that's where we're going to. But before we go to the answer itself, if it's dim light, must the pupil be wider or narrower?
Narrow.
No, wider.
wide.
Wider.
Wider.
It must be wider.
It must be
To
Wider.
allow more light.
to allow more light to come. Good, excellent. You notice how quickly you can make a mistake with this. So always think about it, even when you're putting your answers down. And how does that happen? The radial muscles contract, the circular muscles relax and the pupil dilates. Notice we're using the correct language. Pupil dilates, so more light enters the eye for a clear image to form in the eye. So to remember this one here, this is dim light. I use the mnemonic debit, credit. Huh? In dim light, the radial muscles contract, squared, and the circular muscles relax. That part is the hard part. The second part is obvious. Because it's dim, we want as much light as possible to come in. The only way we can do that if the pupil dilates to allow more light, and the last part is always the case, whether it's near dim or bright. Now obvious also at the same time that if we are looking at bright light, what's going to happen? This is going to change to the opposite. Instead of contract, it's going to be relax, and instead of relax will be contract, and instead of dilate will be constrict, and less light entering the eye. Can you notice we're only changing one word there and we're learning both. The idea is don't learn both, because in an exam, when the question is asked, you're under pressure, you may confuse dim and bright. Remember that. I'm not reading the whole story because you have it. You have this. All right? So we're looking at that and we're looking at the graph, and we need to answer questions. So I'm going to cut our guys out for a while because they're still thinking about the challenge question which they're going to answer, and they're going to be answering your questions. I'm going to take a break today. I don't have to think. I've got 3 able assistants that are going to answer your questions. So this is a straightforward. You have to look at the diagram to answer this question? No, not at all. Which structure in the eye controls the size of the pupil? And the answer is the iris, obviously. Between which 2 consecutive time intervals did the following changes in the diameter of the pupil occur? When was the smallest increase? Now watch, you're going to read this thing properly. This is the time intervals on the x-axis and the diameter of the pupil on the y-axis. Okay, so we need to look for the smallest change. Which way? Let's see. Smallest increase. Okay, from here to there was how many? That's 2, that's 4, so that's 2. From there to there, 1, isn't it? There's no increase, am I right? That is obviously more than these 2, so we can't go that way. Going down that way is decrease. And then there's a big increase there. And they wanted to know the smallest increase. So the smallest increase is between which 2 intervals? 2 and 3. Remember in this answer, you can't say interval 2, because they're asking you between. The question is saying between which 2 consecutive. You have to say between 2 and 3. Remember that in that answer, right? Good. And the biggest decrease, that one you can see clearly in this diagram, it is between
6 and 7.
6 and 7. There we go, reading there. Remember, these questions, you don't have to study anything. It's about reading the graph. You can see the drop. It's a huge drop from 6 to 7. Hey. Good. Why did the diameter of the pupil remain the same during the 3rd and 4th time interval? In fact, the question should say, why do you think? I wouldn't ask that part, because then I tell my kids that I'll say I don't think about these things. It's not a good answer. You get no marks for that. So why would you think that there was no change there? Any ideas, guys?
The light
That the
intensity
light didn't
change.
Exactly, we're dealing with light intensity here, isn't it? So either the light intensity didn't change, or we didn't change the distance of the light from the person. Good. Let's see what the experts had to say about that one. Same distance, because they're talking about distance in this case, and obviously the light intensity. But remember, look at what they're talking about here. In this case here, they're talking about the same bulb, but what did they vary? Distance, right? I didn't give them a chance to read that part. They would have understood that now. But do you understand why we're not talking about intensity? We're talking about distance in this case. Okay? At which time interval was the electrical bulb the greatest distance away from the person? Explain your answer. So where do you think the electric bulb was the furthest away from the eye?
8. At 8.
At 8. He's saying 8, and the diameter is 1. You think that's correct or not, G?
I think it's 5.
You think it's 5? And why are you saying it's 5?
Because as it's further away, there's less light available.
Good,
Oh,
excellent,
okay.
excellent. You see why your answer was incorrect. Right? Remember, guys, we need the incorrect answers to help us to learn. And that's why in your classes, and that's why I'm happy Kamogelo is answering even though his answer was incorrect. In your classes, you must answer. When you sit there, how are you feeling today? The teacher makes a joke. A guy claps you. You can't sit there. The class is not going to carry on. When you give a wrong answer, the teacher can use your wrong answer to teach the rest of the class why your answer is incorrect. Now here, the thing was, and here, let's open it up. At 5, obviously was the one, or between 5 and 6, the size of the pupil was the largest. The further away the bulb was, the less light there was. Therefore, the pupil will dilate more there. That's why that's the correct answer. Okay. Explain the pupillary mechanism for the period between 8 and 9. I'm not going to discuss this because we've already done pupillary mechanism, but there's a story there, adjusted for bright light. So at night, we're exposed to dim light. So from bright to dim. Again, the radial muscles contract, and what's missing in between? The circular muscles relax, and the pupil dilates so that more light enters, so we get a clear image. Try to keep those small details in. Don't leave them out, otherwise you're losing marks. Provide a possible hypothesis for this investigation. We've spoken about hypothesis, I'm just writing it there. The closer or the further any bright source to the eye, the smaller the greater. Notice, it means either or it's correct, because it's your hypothesis. Explain how you would improve the reliability of the investigation. Test both eyes. Here they were testing only one eye. So by testing 2 eyes, you are increasing the sample size. Or repeat. Remember, whenever you're dealing with reliability, we talk of the sample size and repeating the investigation. List 2 factors apart from the environmental factors which you have to keep constant to ensure the results are valid. Remember here they said apart from environmental factors. So what must you keep? The same person must measure. Because Luni can measure incorrectly, Astam can measure incorrectly, Unati can measure correctly. So if we're going to let 1, 2, and 3 measure, there's no consistency in the answer. Okay? The electric bulb must be kept at the same height for all intervals. You can't say same distance because this experiment was testing different distances. But if we have one lower, one higher, it can affect brightness. Okay? We can also say, but they said it already, they're using the same bulb. If they did not say that, then you must use the same bulb.
I think it's time for a break now. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. Let's not waste any time and get straight back to today's revision lesson. Over to you.
Study the diagram of the human ear and answer the questions that follow. So they're giving you that. Label parts, label A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so we're going to label it on the diagram and then we'll open to see whether we're correct or not. That one there is the auditory canal. A, what was it again? A, B, C, D, E. Okay, B, tympanic membrane. C, notice it's a curly bracket over all. Now it could be middle ear or ossicles. We could either call this the middle ear or we can even give it the label ossicles. If they gave you the individual bones, then you had to say hammer, anvil, or stirrup. D, where the stirrup is knocking against, that would be the oval window. And E, notice where this nerve is coming from. This particular nerve is coming from the semicircular canals and the sacculus and utriculus, not from the cochlea. This particular nerve, look at the line there, it's going that way. So this one here has to be the vestibular or equilibrium nerve. This one here would be the auditory nerve. And this structure here, this snail-like structure, the snail shell-like structure is the cochlea. Okay. And let's see how right or how wrong we were. Oh, very good. We're very clever, man. Look at that. We got all right there. 5 out of 5. Give me that calculator, please, man. Provide the functions of parts labeled A, C, and E. A, auditory canal. C, middle ear. In this case now, it will be the oval. It will be the ossicle, sorry, because that's why they're asking for the functions. And E, equilibrium or vestibular nerve. And the functions are easy. We've done that before. So let's look at what we're saying. A, it transfers sound waves to the tympanic membrane. C transfers sound waves or vibrations to the oval window, or they amplify sound. And D transfers sound waves to the inner ear or peripheral. Will sound waves reach part D if C was removed? If we remove C, these bones, will the sound reach the oval window? Remember, this is the outer ear, this is the middle ear, and that's the inner ear. Will it reach? The easiest answer to say is no, but the answer is actually yes, because that's an air cavity. There is sound waves. The sound will travel through the air and knock onto the oval window anyway. However, the sound waves will not be as intense as it is when those bones are there. Remember, one of the functions of the bones is to intensify, amplify the sound. So therefore, it won't be there, because the air cavity will conduct sound waves. How is the structure drawn above suited to its functions? In other words, this ear, how is it suited for its functions? We're only discussing a few. First of all, the pinna is outside. Notice it just said how. It did not say explain how. And therefore, we don't go into details. But if they said explain, the pinna is outside the body. This is ideal to trap the sound waves, the explanation, the second mark. The pinna is funnel shaped. This is ideal to trap sound waves. The pinna has grooves on your ear, on your what we call the ear, is the pinna, by the way. The grooves direct the sound inside. The auditory canal is cylindrical and hollow. This is ideal for the conduction of sound waves. The auditory canal has wax secreting cells and hair cells. These serve as protection. The ossicles are attached to the tympanic membrane and the oval window. What's so good about it? They can transmit sound waves from the tympanic membrane to the oval window and thus get sound waves into the inner ear. The inner ear contains the organ of Corti, which converts sound waves into hearing stimuli. The semicircular canals and the vestibular apparatus have receptors for balance, and therefore they will help the body to balance. Study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow. This is a nice diagram to explain how we hear. Notice the first part of hearing is easy. Pinna, auditory canal, tympanic membrane, hammer, anvil, stirrup, oval window. And that's where we are. So the sound is here by the oval window now. The sound waves are here by the oval window. This is now, we're taking that cochlea and we're cutting it up. This is one canal, one. This is another one, and this one is three, third one. You'll notice that the upper and the bottom canals are surrounded by a thicker line. This thicker line indicates bone. So the fluid here is perilymph. By the way, this is an extension of your work. It's just so that you understand properly how we hear. You don't have to know all the details for exams. And this one here in the middle is surrounded by membranes and it's called the endolymph. Now when sound waves come here, there's going to be vibrations here, obvious. And this vibration will continue here. This is a membrane and this is another membrane. The membranes are also going to vibrate, therefore the endolymph will also vibrate. And this part here that's called the organ of Corti with the hair cells. When the hair cells touch the tectoral membrane, the stimulus is converted to an impulse, it goes to the auditory nerves, and then from there it goes to the brain. This is a nice diagram to explain how we hear on the inside. For further, not for our purposes. Remember, we just say that it goes to the cochlea where the stimulus is converted to an impulse by the organ of Corti, and then it goes to the auditory nerve. We're not going to give all the stories there. Identify parts labeled A, D, E, and liquid B. Okay. A, D, E, and liquid B. A, auditory nerve, as I told you just now. Auditory nerve, that one. D, what is that? Oval window. And E, stirrup. And liquid B. Liquid B is here, that's the perilymph. Good? Good. All right. Part labeled C is labeled the organ of Corti. What is its role in the hearing process? The organ of Corti, as I said earlier, is the receptor. So therefore, it converts stimulus or sound waves to an impulse. Is part C found in the middle ear or the inner ear? This part C, the organ of Corti, where is it found? Obvious, the inner ear, we explained that earlier. Explain how the process of hearing may be affected if part A is damaged. A is the auditory nerve. If it's damaged, then obviously all the hearing will take place up to that point, all the vibrations and everything. But this message will not go to the brain because the auditory nerve is damaged, so it won't go to the brain, so we will in effect be deaf. All the vibrations can take place, but if that auditory nerve is damaged, then the message won't go to the brain, and therefore we can't hear.
We've come to the end of today's show. Thanks for joining me and for chatting to me during the show. Remember to visit our website, learn.mindset.co.za, to get the notes and to watch the videos from the term. Goodbye.